team, lots of people ask me why we use trust structures to buy properties in. So I'm going to show you how I am structured in this video. And I've got a little disclaimer here. I'm not an accountant. Please get advice from a specialist before you do anything along these lines. This video is for educational purposes only, just to give you some questions to go out there and ask your team about. Right, so here's me, Neil. If I buy property in my own name, everything shows up on my Equifile report. And that is your credit report. And every time you buy a property, the banks will go on that report and they will see how much debt you've got against your name. If these are held in your personal name, they can see that you own all of these properties. The only property I used to own in my own name was my principal place of residence. I've actually removed myself from the principal place of residence now as well, and I'll show you why I did it too. So if you hold them in your own name, the bank can see everything about it, right? If you set up a trust structure with a corporate trustee and you buy the property inside that trust, this is your trust here, and this is your PTY Ltd, and I'm the director of this company, then I technically do not own that property. The company holds it in trust for me. Now there's a saying that, I can't remember who said it, some smart guy said, own nothing and control everything, and this is exactly how you do it. This is great for inheritance later down the line, it's easy to pass on to your kids, your grandkids, etc. and stuff like that. So if you're going to build wealth, you want to think about the best way you can pass it on to them. So nothing in your own name. We go out there and we buy separate property in a trust with a corporate trustee that I'm the director of. So right now I'm the director of multiple companies with multiple properties in them, all coming back to me like this. When they look on my credit report now, because I don't owe them, it looks like I've got no debt against my name, because what I am is the guarantor for these loans. So if anything goes wrong with them, they'll come looking for me. But because I don't have any personal assets in my name, then they can't really take anything off me, right? So it's a way of protecting yourself if anything does go wrong. Also, if something does go wrong in one of these properties, let's say for some reason there's an issue that a tenant gets injured, that tenant can only sue what's inside this trust. So if it's something that I've done, they can probably sue me as the director of the PTY Ltd, but they can only go up to this PTY Ltd as well. Again, they can't come after me and my personal assets because I don't own the property. So that's a protection side of things, right? From a tax minimization standpoint, this is where it starts to get really sexy, because each one of these properties is generating a 10% yield. Now, I know interest rates are quite high currently, but when interest rates come back down, and when your debt levels decrease on these properties in the future, these are going to generate over $100,000 a year net cash flow from each property. Now again, if you earn these into your personal name, you pay 47% tax on these two. You definitely pay it on this one. Under 100k, you'd be paying around, I think it's 32 to 37%. Don't quote me again, I'm not an accountant. Please speak to an accountant before I do anything along these lines. But what you want to think is long term with these things, right? You want to set them up in a way so that you can be tax effective, and you set up what's called a bucket company. This is my bucket company, that's the handle with a little handle thing on. What you can do at tax time is you can top yourself up with enough income so that you are paying 32% tax on that, and then you can distribute the rest of the profits into this bucket company, and this will pay between 25 to 30% tax on the income in that bucket company based on how it's set up and what you're doing with it as well. So if it's a dormant company, if it's dormant and you're just spitting profit into there, you'll pay 30% tax. If it's an active company, you pay 25% tax on there. Again, speak to your accountant about the best way to do it. Now, the reason that I don't own a principal place of residence in my name, again, we'll go back to this little section. I'll put a little red ring around here. The reason that I don't own a principal place of residence in my name is because if I live in a property that's worth $2 million and I've got a 50% LVR on there, that means I've got $1 million worth of debt, which means from the income that I pay myself, I need to allocate income to this, and it lowers my borrowing capacity because I've got $1 million worth of debt in my own name. I've got millions of dollars worth of debt here, but I've also got tenants that are paying all of them debts and covering all the outgoings on them houses. So the banks don't necessarily care about them. Again, get a good broker, get a good accountant. This is just so you're aware of what's possible out there. So I'm going to tell you this little secret as well. My wife owns our principal place of residence, but my wife doesn't own any of these properties here. And that's how I have unlimited borrowing capacity, and my wife owns our property. So there you go. Trust structures and the way you can structure yourself. Speak to someone who's a specialist. Show them this video if you want, I don't mind. But this is how I'm structured, and this is how I've continued to invest and never hit a wall when it comes to investing.